I made a video about how your first paycheck will be taxed. This was assuming that you graduated college and you got like a regular job and you got a salary. But my first paycheck was actually at Subway, and I was getting paid. I think it was like $5.15 an hour. And when I got my hepatitis shot, they added 70 cents, so I got $5.85 per hour. I think I only worked the weekends. Anyways, I'm going to do one. I'm going to make this video about what your first paycheck will look like, assuming you get paid an hourly rate and you're only working maybe 10 hours. So I'm going to use $15 an hour. That could be high, could be low. I think that's California's. California's minimum wage is about around 15 bucks. So if you got a first job at Subway, McDonald's, whatever it may be, $15 an hour, you maybe work 10 hours a week. Assuming you work from January 1st to the end of December 31st, that's 520 hours. So it's $15 times 10 hours a week times 52 weeks in the year. You make $7,800. Not too bad. And then these withholdings should be the same. This is state withholding. I live in Nevada, so I don't have any state withholding. So that could be, this would be Arizona. So I'm just going to keep this. The numbers, the numbers don't have to be exact. This is just more so for the concept. Even though you're getting paid $7,800 for the year, the employer has to also pay the other half of payroll taxes, Social Security and Medicare, federal unemployment, as well as state unemployment. So if you worked the whole year, that would be your net paycheck as an employee. And this is what it looked like on a monthly basis. Your net paycheck would be $519 based off these withholdings. Your payroll taxes aren't refundable. Your federal tax and your state taxes are potentially refundable. So let's go to what your federal tax will look like. You make your W-2. So your W-2 is going to show $7,800 in wages, $780 in withholding. Oh, and also withholding is just going to be based off of how you fill out your W-4. I'm just going to assume 10% is being withheld. In reality, it could be nothing. You might not have anything withheld from your paycheck, or you might have 10%. So let's just assume 10%. So your W-2 that you'd get at the end of the year is going to show $7,800 in box one of wages, $780 that you withheld that you've already paid the IRS, $7,800 in Medicare, $7,800 for the state. This is California, but it could be Arizona, Nevada, it could be anywhere. And then your state withholdings was $195. For federal, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You make $7,800. You're single, assuming. You get this thing called the standard deduction. It's a freebie deduction, and you have zero taxable income, so you don't owe any taxes, as you can see. However, you already paid in $780, so you should get a refund of $780. And this is why, even though you don't owe any taxes, why you might want to file your taxes so you get this $780 back. However, you gotta, if you file your own taxes and it's free, makes sense. If you pay somebody to do it and you pay them $500, your net on this is $280. So let's just bring this down. You only work 5 hours a week, and your refund is $390 because you still don't owe any taxes, but you withheld $390. It may not make sense for you to file your taxes and pay $500 to get back $390 because you're still in the whole $110. But if you do it yourself or pay somebody $500 and you still net $280, that could be worth it to get your taxes back. Once again, you're not required to file these taxes. The IRS doesn't care. They already have your $780. That shouldn't be theirs, but in order to get it back, you'd have to file your taxes. Or you could also reduce your taxes withheld from each paycheck when you fill out your W-4. And so that way, no taxes are going to be withheld from your paycheck. In Arizona, should have done the math on this. It's going to be that number. Actually, it should have been the max. So it should have been zero. So you should get a refund of $195. Same with California. You'll get a refund of $195. So that's what it would look like if you got paid $15 an hour, working 10 hours a week. You work the whole year. However, you may only work 6 months out of the year. And so or you started in June, so you only have 6 months worth of income. So that's what the number would be like, and that's what your W-2 would look like, half that. And we're back to kind of other example I showed you earlier. However, if let's just pump this up to 15, we'll make this 20 and 20. So this assuming you work the whole year. That's what your W-2 would look like. 20,000 for W-2, withheld 10%, 2.5% for state. And in this scenario, you would have taxable income of $4,700 at 10% rate. You would have paid $470. You've already paid in $2,080. You'll get a refund of $16,000 or $1,610. And then you got to factor in either you file this yourself or you pay somebody to do it to get this refund back. For Arizona, it's a little bit less, $403 back. However, this is that we assume that you work the whole year. If you only work half the year, even though you're getting paid, $20 an hour at 20 hours a week, but you started halfway through the year, the IRS looks at your whole tax year, not if you worked for a full year. It's what you actually worked during that year. So your W-2 is just going to show half of that. So we made $10,400 in one year, or that tax year, and so therefore you don't owe any taxes. You should get a refund about $1,000 back. Once again, you don't have to file your taxes, but if you may want to, so you can get this $1,000 back because you can file yourself for free, or it should be free, or maybe it's $100 if you do it yourself. Pay somebody, you're looking anywhere from probably $350 to $500, maybe cheaper, maybe more, just depend on who you go with. Arizona, you get $260 back. California, you get $260 back. So hopefully that is more accurate in terms of your very first paycheck, assuming you start working an hourly job. So, and a quick just math, depending on how much money you make, you multiply by 2,000. Well, that's assuming you work full time. Most likely, you probably not work full time. So, anyways, this document should be in the description. Hopefully, this makes sense in terms of how your very first paycheck, assuming you get paid hourly, would look like and how the taxes work. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments.